Hello everyone! Today I'm going to talk a little bit more about memory. So, first of all, there are two types of explicit or conscious memory: semantic memory and episodic memory. So, semantic memory is facts or knowledge that we know about and can talk about. Episodic memory is things that we have personally experienced in our life. So, when you think of semantic memory, think of like history. You can like say all the events. Um, you didn't actually experience them yourself, but you know about them. You have the knowledge. Whereas episodic memory is telling like a personal story about what happened to you. And the place where this kind of explicit memory is laid down is called the hippocampus. It's a part of our brain where all these memories are kind of like dumped. So if you think about like sometimes when you come in to your house and then you maybe have like this one table or like bench where you just like dump all your stuff, it's kind of like that. It gets dumped there, and that's where like your long-term memories go um, before they get like stored away. Um, and that storing away is um, called consolidation, memory consolidation, and that's kind of like help with sleep. Like when you sleep, your memories get consolidated, so like um, they're like on that hippocampus table, and then they get like packed away into like boxes, so they can be stored, and that makes it like easier for your brain to like find them, because if you think about a messy table, it's hard to find stuff, but when they're all like consolidated into like boxes and like cabinets, like it's easier, more organized, you can find it. So when you sleep, you're actually consolidating memories, which is another reason why cramming is a bad idea, because you're only like not able to remember it very well since you didn't get like very much sleep. Whereas if you spread out your studying, there's like way more sleep consolidation. Those memories are getting like firmer every time you sleep. Um, More parts of the brain that work with memory is the cerebellum, which is helping with the implicit memories and the classical conditioning, which we haven't talked too much about, but I think of it like um, I, I read about like if there's a little sound and then like a puff of air follows that sound, eventually your brain, because of like the cerebellum, it's going to figure out that after that sound it should close your eyes so you don't like get puff of air in your eyes. So that's like classical conditioning, and it helps me remember because the word bell is in cerebellum, so think about a bell, and that's like the sound, so you want to like close your eyes. It's like classical conditioning, kind of without thinking, like a reflex. And then the basal ganglia, that's helping, that part of the brain helps with like your procedural motor skills, like walking, riding a bike, um, those type of skills that you can demonstrate but can't quite explain. And then another part of the brain is the amygdala, which deals with these emotional memories, like these flashbulb memories. And what a flashbulb memory is it's a memory that is very clear and sustained, and it's like pretty emotional. Um, yeah, it's flashbulb. So like the reason why like emotional memories can actually be like more accurate and we can remember them longer is because when there's like stress hormones, that's sending more glucose to the brain, and it kind of like activates the amygdala to like this is important information. It kind of like ingrains it into your head. So sometimes that can be like a good thing, but other times it can be a bad thing, like just something you can't seem to forget. It's like ingrained into your head, like something really emotional that might not have been too positive. So it's kind of when our brain turns against us. But um, there's another thing that kind of activates our brain called long term potentiation, or LTP. don't quite understand this fully, but basically what it is your brain is like active for a short period of time, and then after that, like it's easier to remember things because it's just like super activated, kind of like getting your brain warmed up. Is what I think of. And then there is this person, Ebbinghaus, and he did some experiments um, with like relearning and like recognition. So he would like try and memorize like this nonsense on like try and memorize it on day one, and he like kept reading it over and over, and then on day two he couldn't like remember it, but then he like relearned it and he was able to get it faster. So he found out that the more times he read it on day one, even though he forgot it on day two, he could relearn it faster, which shows that there's actually like we do remember it, we just can't recall it. But with recognition, that's like where you have multiple choice with a list. Um, you can recognize it. So that shows that it's in our memory. We just can't like produce it, but actually it's there. And there's a lot more in our memory that can be brought up with like cues or different things. Um, which brings me to the encoding specificity principle, which just means that cues at the time when we remember something are important. So that's like these retrieval cues, such as the location, mood, sight, sound, smells that we had around us when we encoded that memory. And the context, such as like the place we were at. Like if you visit your old house, you're gonna have some like more memories of like your time there because of like the location you're at. Or if you see someone like from work in like an unfamiliar place like the store, you might have like a harder time recognizing them because it's an unfamiliar context. And then lastly, there's state dependent memory, which is like if you're drunk versus if you're sober. So if you're drunk, um, you're more likely to like remember things from when you were drunk. Like if you learned something when you were drunk, or if you're sober, um, you're gonna have an easier time remembering things from when you were sober. So, um, yeah. And then there's mood congruent memory, which means that your current mood will impact how you like your outlook on your memories. So if you're in like a really good mood, you'll be like, oh, like the test wasn't that bad. But if you're in like a bad mood, you'll be like, that was the worst test ever. It depends, like your current mood can impact how you like what kind of light you cast like even past events in. So thank you for watching.